Welcome to the Fashion Translator. I'm Claire, your host. Together we explore how AI and innovation are reshaping the fashion industry through creativity, technology, and global partnership. For today's episode, I'm excited to welcome Kiefer Cohen, co-founder of Sad Eyewear, a premium sunglasses company combining functionality and aesthetic design. Kiefer, thank you for joining me today. Could you start by introducing yourself and telling us a bit more about Sad Eyewear?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it. I'm Kiefer Cohen, based in Orange County, California, and as is our brand in Costa Mesa, California. Yeah, we've been working on this brand for about 7 years, and it's had some different changes throughout that period, but we're in a really good spot right now, and I'm excited to share whatever information I can today.
So tell us a bit more about the mission. What's at the core of the brand?
So the brand is really based around subcultures. So it's kind of pulling in a bunch of different aspects of things that I grew up with in Southern California, as well as kind of broader culture in general. But a lot of things like that are all DIY related and that are kind of around the individual. So skateboarding, surfing, kind of graffiti subculture and kind of street culture in general. We pull a lot of influence from tattoo artists, but then now we're also getting into, running and other like individual sports. So it's really just about the individual pursuit and kind of the DIY ethos.
And tell us a bit more about some collaboration that would have that have in the future impacted the brand or that currently are weaving into these subculture inspiration.
So last year we were really excited. We did kind of a tattoo capsule. So it was 3 different artists throughout the US. So we did one in San Diego, one in Los Angeles, and one in New York, which are kind of our 3 hotbeds of customer base, but also are such a driver of culture. And it was such a great opportunity for us because these were 3 artists that I've followed throughout their career since I was a I don't want to say since I was a young kid because they're not that old, but since I was in my college years, these have been artists that
Yeah.
I looked up to, and some of them mix between graffiti and tattooing and fine art, and they also surf themselves or skateboard. So it just these 3 individuals were such like a perfect fit, and so something we really were excited about last year. They did all their artwork on the packaging, so that was great to involve kind of their fan base into what we're doing. And we've seen that through the last few months. There's so many times that people have come up to us and said like, "Oh, I found you guys through the collaboration." So now we're working on that in some other mediums. We're kind of ironing that out, but yeah, I think collaborations play a huge role in kind of getting our name out there. We've also done skate collaborations with this skateboarder Nicole House, who's sponsored by Nike and some other big skate brands. So having that has kind of had the same impact. And now when we go and do events in other areas of skate, it's the same conversation. People are like, "Oh, I found you through these collaborations." So definitely looking to do that in other subcultures in the future.
Yeah, it's a nice way to bridge all of these community together and make an even bigger community.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And also, I mean, just the individuals that we're actually doing the collaborations with, we've always kept a great friendship with. And so, when they have art events, we go to those, or when they have skate events, we go to those. And
Yeah.
it's just been a great way to I feel so lucky and so blessed in this industry to just be able to maintain friendships with people who have similar interests and like-minded kind of pursuits. So it's super
Yeah.
fun.
I think when you find your people, the one that are as passionate as you and in the same direction, it really elevates your heart, their art, the business, even the consumer. I think they can connect to a deeper level when they feel that there is this energy going.
100%. And I mean, these people are doing such great work within their field. and it's inspiring for me and my team. So, I feel like we're both kind of in awe and like looking up to them, as well as being peers and being able to work on a project together is super rewarding.
What are, so you mentioned tattoos, skateboards. What are some other subculture that you would be interested in exploring?
Well, so for 2026, we're releasing our first athletic pair of sunglasses, which is a whole new direction, but it actually ties in really well to kind of, like I said, the DIY ethos that kind of surrounds our brand. But it's also a personal pursuit that I'm passionate about, as well as my coworkers. Everyone kind of at the brand has started running over the last couple of years. So it's a product we've really wanted to put out there. And coincidentally, or not coincidentally, but running is very, very popular right now, especially in my specific area. So there's a lot of run clubs and kind of community events that we've already been involved with popping up and gaining more popularity, as well as we're working on opening up our own retail store in the coming months. So that will be a new hub that we can kind of utilize as a run club meetup as well. So having that all combined, that's kind of another new subculture that we are really excited about tapping into.
So there's a few things here that I want to dive in a bit more. Let's start with like, so you mentioned the store. You're operating across physical store, retail, wholesale, online, international distribution, even including a strong presence in Japan. How do you grow into this very multi-channel strategy?
Yeah, so it's definitely been kind of piece by piece. It wasn't like we set out to say, hey, let's be everywhere. We started in e-commerce, and then we got our first couple stores in COVID time. So this whole brand was started kind of as very much a side project, as many small brands do. I had multiple other jobs at the same time. And that's how it kind of was for maybe 3 or 4 years. And in that time, we went from online to maybe 5 or 6 stores, just mostly local and throughout California. And then the international distribution started. I went on a trip to Japan just for fun. I mean, for travel. And I was going around handing out business cards, which I guess isn't really how it's done over there. Maybe some of your listeners will be able to have a better idea or knowledge on how it is done. But I was going into these small select shops and just kind of, I don't know the language, I don't know the customs, but the stores are so cool and just had such a strong tie to aesthetics that we kind of put out there or like try to emulate. So I did that for about a week, and when I came back, a distributor reached out to me and just said, "Hey, your name popped up from being out here." Which I don't know how that's possible, but he's like, "Your name popped up from being out of here. I distribute some brands in your area, which were great brands that I knew of. Globe, which is a big skate umbrella company, Brixton, which is a big company out here, kind of other ones in the surf skate realm. And maybe 2.5 years ago, we started distribution out there, and that's just become a great leg of our company. We're in great chains out there, Journal Standard, Freaks, like some really positive stores in Japan. And so that's how that happened, though. I guess that was your initial question.
Yes, yes.
So very natural and organic. And then the retail component of what we're trying to do now in Costa Mesa, there's this place called the Anti Mall. It's called the Lab, which stands for Little American Business. And for 30 years, it's been kind of the hot spot in Costa Mesa as far as like upcoming trends and retail and just very unique space. I grew up going there all the time. So it's definitely kind of a dream come true when the opportunity presented itself for a new build out. And we have this beautiful glass wrapped building with a skylight, a ton of natural light. It was kind of the perfect eyewear sunglass
Setting.
store.
Yeah.
Now SAD stands for Sight and Design Company. And so we get to include so many other aspects of the brand other than just eyewear in the store. So,
Mm.
we'll have design books and coffee table books and zines and ceramics, just a lot of different products that kind of build out the brand to more than just eyewear, which is I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, expanding almost into lifestyle.
Very much so, without trying to, I we're definitely being cautious in terms of expanding our product, the breadth of our product to be too far. Don't want to have too many SKUs that we have to then maintain. But at the same time, that is something, sorry for the beeping. That's something that we're excited though to be able to build out the brand a little bit more.
I think this is a challenge that you mentioned. When growth is available and scaling, and when it can be exciting to want to include too many things and diversify, but it's a fine balance between like including diversity while maintaining the soul and the identity and keeping the core very strong of the brand itself as it started and keeping the mission.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we are an eyewear brand, and I'm trying to stay in the accessories world. I'm not really looking to do a ton of clothing outside of shop tees and kind of one-off things, which in the store will be great that we can release some products that we're not necessarily having online and have them be a little bit more limited, and we can just kind of test the waters. So
Mm.
that is exciting, and my team's really excited about just having a little bit more flexibility on design and kind of being experimental. I mean, that's what being a small brand is all about. Like, why
Yeah,
we don't need to be confined to any one specific
yeah.
thing, as long as it all makes sense within our brand world.
You have more agility to kind of get out there and see what works. If we go back on the eyewear, so it's very clear that the design and this opportunity to have collaboration with different subculture and art is really at the core of when you develop your product. How do you balance that with the functionality or the commercial realities of eyewear specifically?
Well, eyewear has changed so much over the last few years. I mean, when I was starting this brand, especially in the area that I grew up in Southern California, all these kind of action sports brands all live in the same area. So Volcom, Vans, Ruka, Quicksilver, Hurley,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
these like big 90s surf brands all literally live within a mile and a half of each other. And so
yeah.
that's the community that I grew up in. And
Mm.
there were eyewear components associated with those, like Nixon, Electric, Dragon, kind of these 90s surf eyewear brands. And when I was starting SAD, that's what had existed. And then there was maybe only one like independent eyewear brand that had kind of popped up like 8 years prior to what I was doing. And that's kind of just where it's at. And so for me, I had an idea of like the type of eyewear that I wanted to see out there and bring to the skate community and these other DIY communities I've been discussing. So that was the landscape at the time. Now, over the course of the last few years, there's so many independent brands, with a huge range of styles that they pull from and that they want to create. And from
Yeah.
what I've seen, a lot of these brands try to just hop on a lot of trends and create kind of like every style. And we've been very adamant on like keeping a specific style that we like and like want to push out there. And I feel like it's a little bit better for us to stay within our niche and like what our brand represents rather than trying to attack everyone, because there are options out there. I mean, eyewear is not in any low supply. There are a ton of options and we understand that. So we're just trying to have a good customer match with what we're doing. So as far as the reality of what people are looking for in functionality. Our products are more than functional. I mean, they have the fit is fantastic. The polarization aspect of it is great. The price point's good. So that is kind of taken care of. And then it's like, what do we want to deliver as far as our brand image? And so that's kind of the world between those two that we live in.
I feel like when it comes to trends, it can be the same as when it comes to diversifying the SKU assortment. It can be exciting, but it's easy for it to be this shiny thing that you end up chasing, and you can also lose focus on the core. So, like you mentioned, it's who Sad is at the core, that's what has to stay the main focus.
Yeah, and I mean it's pretty wild. There's especially with colors, like something will happen in popular culture or something I don't even know what. Sometimes I don't even know what's going on. But let's just say like an amber color
Mm.
sunglasses will be can't keep them in stock. They're just going, going, going,
Yeah.
going. So we'll do a big reorder, and it'll go for like three to 6 months, and then one day that color is just off. No one buys that color, and it's on the next. So there's a lot of planning and forecasting that we do to try and keep our inventory levels healthy without being too aggressive or too shy, and kind of trying to find a sweet spot because you don't want to be stuck with a colorway that's not moving for 2 years. Meanwhile, you're running out of some bronze lens thing that's going off at the moment. So it's just trying to find a sweet balance between the two and being realistic in expectations on inventory quantities.
Yeah, in terms of forecasting, tell us a bit more if you're like what kind of system, or are you leveraging any technology? What does your forecasting strategy implies? Like how do you support it?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I'm not using any technology in that area, which probably would be helpful. I mean, other than websites that I kind of use as a guide, we're definitely very active within the scene. So, we do a lot of in-person events, and that has allowed us to get a lot of customer feedback and also see what people are wearing. That's more of a current area of like, okay, this is what's happening right this second. But we've always tried to follow the kind of guideline of like not look at our influences, but our influences. So
Yeah.
we definitely watch like Paris Fashion Week and like the high end eyewear and see what they're doing and kind of assess like what we think the trickle down effect would be, and
Mm.
not try to just emulate what they're doing because a lot of time that wouldn't make sense for daily functionality or like what our customer base would wear. But something as simple as like, hey, geometric shapes are really really popular right now, or like that's kind of the trend that things are moving. So what would a more geometric shape work within our product category, or what we offer or what we're missing. Like, do we have too many cat eyes? Do we have too many rectangular shapes? Like, how can we kind of fit this in to what we're doing, as well as pay attention to where the trends are moving. So that's kind of
Mhm.
how we do, for better or for worse.
And if we look at right now, like what would you say has most of which aspect of your business has most of your focus?
Well, right now it's opening the store. So this is going to be our flagship store. We're in plenty of other retailers, but this is our first, like, our baby. So at the moment, that's taking the most of my time. But um, we have 4 new products that we're launching this year, or at least first um, during summer. And so right now we're kind of game planning like how we're going to do the rollout for that, and making sure we have all our photo shoots done and kind of all the production on the back end of that. So that is kind of, I guess, where our head's at right now. And then looking forward, we were talking about collaborations earlier in the conversation. That's kind of our long-term marketing strategy, is like these strategic partnerships, and including retail partnerships that we can do either some SMU work for a brand or a retailer, or another brand collaboration. So those are kind of the areas that we're focused on at the moment.
Well, I can tell there's a lot of exciting things coming both for you and for SAD. So we'll make sure to keep an eye on what is going on and what's coming in the future. For the listeners who would like to stay connected, all the links and all the end all will be in the description. Kiefer, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.